Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Lots of reactions to the OpTic versus Thieves series last night, but also OpTic giving their perspective on many of the recent roster changes around the CDL, especially the controversial Seattle Surge decision to get rid of iLLeY, a player that the OpTic guys know well and played on OpTic not all that long ago. They give their analysis on the situation, lots else to discuss as well. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Unbelievable drama over the last couple of days as well in the European Challengers Elite. So these guys qualified for the Challengers Elite, congratulations, for a very short period of time before having been disqualified. So Invidian here, I think it's a name that's been around for some time. I don't know what's going through this guy's head when he did all these tweets over the last couple of days. They qualified for the Elite and then he went on, like, he just completely lost the plot. I just don't understand what possesses people to talk to a fellow human being in this way. I mean, this was the worst tweet by like an absolute mile, and the crazy thing to me was that he didn't just delete these, he just straight up doubled down. I mean, he went even further, even tweeted this out slightly further on, and, you know, obviously, it doesn't need to be said how unacceptable this all is, and for very good reason. The admins have just, you know, straight up banned their team for the tournament. I can't imagine what his teammates were thinking as well. It's like, well, you've just chalked off our entire careers here, basically. So, you know, I think justice on this one definitely served. Okay, this is kind of small on the screen, but the admins basically said, yep, in light of the situation, we obviously don't condone this. So, you know, that player's been banned, and therefore that team is now ineligible, and therefore they're disqualified. So what was good is that the K2 Esports team and another team got to take their spot. So yeah, I mean, that was just one ridiculous piece of drama, but then we actually went not even further, but we had another piece of drama in the Challengers Elite yesterday when one team therefore qualified and another team made it through, and Drazah and his team requested to do like a PC check on these guys' PC, and for some reason this guy agreed. This wasn't an officially mandated PC check which you can like request, I'm pretty sure, from the admins. You can say, hey, we want to do a PC check, and there's some debate on whether a PC check really does anything, but it clearly can do something if the person getting PC checked has no idea what they're doing and doesn't defend themselves appropriately from getting exposed. So this was then the screenshot going around. So these guys qualified, and this guy Kevs here was, I think these are French team basically. This is his like screenshot of the PC check that I did here on his PC, and well, first of all, he didn't even delete his like Google Chrome history, so you can see him googling the cheats here back in January, and then there's this other, I don't know, software they use, I guess, which then has found the .exe file which is responsible for this. So yeah, they did a PC check, and it's been found that the player was basically caught hacking, like, well, at least using hacking software for the elite qualifiers. The crazy thing is, though, that this guy, obviously having got caught, just disappeared off the face of the earth. Like, his Twitter account's been deactivated. So if there was any possible admission of guilt, firstly, you found the cheats on his PC, that's bad enough. But even if you want to say, well, you know, I wasn't using them, I just installed them to, I don't even know what excuse you'd come up with. I guess you could try and find some way. He just decided to disappear. So, you know, probably, well, not really probably, certainly, this guy's guilty of it, right? The issue is, though, that because this wasn't an official admin ruling on this, the admins then said that we're not going to rule anything on the PC check that has happened. We didn't ask for it, we didn't perform it, and therefore we can't, you know, like execute anything on it apparently, despite the fact that it's pretty obvious what's happened here. And this is the problem, right? That the guys that therefore could have qualified instead are now, you know, getting screwed, right? Because they lost to a team with a hacker, but the admins won't do anything about it. So it's just really frustrating, and I'm guessing, like, look, this team is qualified, one of their players has gone AWOL because he was hacking, so they're not going to play, are they? And they're going to get disqualified, you would think. So hopefully they maybe come to their senses here and, you know, allow another team in instead. So it's an absolute mess, but there's always some juicy drama of some form or another going on in the Challenger side, and also in the Americas. However, we did get, or at least in NA, Temp and his boys did qualify. So Temp, Turel, Yuli, and Dave Paddy, of course. JurNii Temp's in an interesting spot. I'm pretty sure he did confirm on stream that he actually didn't really have any offers in the CDL last season. It was a big debate at some point as to whether Temp would actually decline an offer from a team like Vegas. Let's say Vegas wanted him back again, which they didn't, but let's say they did. Temp was, you know, weighing up the options as, okay, do I go there and take the 50 grand minimum or whatever, 55, whatever it is now, or do I, you know, bet on myself in challenges? I don't really think he had too many options at the end of things, because I don't think Vegas decided to get him back, and, you know, I don't, pretty sure no other teams had offers on the the table, so Temp, I suppose, didn't have too much of a decision to make, but I'm sure that he was maybe expecting he'd go to challenges and, look like the top prospect like Asim and others have done and get opportunities. Not always how it works out, but there'll be other opportunities going forwards because Convoy Gaming, these boys, did qualify through for the Challengers Elite, so we'll see how that develops over the coming days. But of course, yesterday, OpTic took down Los Angeles Thieves. It was a comfortable victory in the end, quick 3-0. Game 1 was dominant. Game 2, Thieves had their chances. Game 3, Thieves had their chances as well. The final offense, there was some potential there, and I think a better team than Thieves does probably find a way to win that invasion control, but they didn't. They lost. They've made the two-man change. It's a tough debut, but also for Thieves, they have a really difficult schedule this time. They have, on paper, the most challenging schedule of anyone. They still play Ultra. I think they still play FaZe, so they have a really tough run, Thieves, and it doesn't get easier anytime soon for these guys, especially because they're dead last bottom of the league right now, these Thieves guys. And, well, you'd think they've still got potential. Like, the gap between them and Champs qualification is, it's definitely surmountable. There's no problems for now. But, the more they go on to lose, if they start in losers at the major again, they get another poor performance at the major, like, they will be staring down the barrel of not making it to the World Championship. And, look, a couple of years ago, these Thieves guys made every roster change in the book during Cold War. They then decided for the next couple of years they weren't going to make any changes. Maybe this season they'll do something more of a middle ground because, they've made a couple of changes. It's quite plausible they'll need one or two more if they really want to put the pieces around Ghosty, as it seems like that is their plan to do. But yeah, their comms yesterday, I would say, left something to be desired on this map, especially when they played Pred and Shotzzy on Rio, and they got slammed pretty much by Pred and Shotzzy on Rio. And this is what I was saying yesterday, that I think for some teams, like Ultra, for example, have played Rio twice now. They've won it once, they've lost it once, but even the victory they had against Miami wasn't, especially emphatic. So there are questions that Rio in, and it's not like Ultra liked Terminal either, because Terminal's gone. They didn't really play that map either, but Ultra are really good on like any hardpoint map that isn't Rio, and maybe they'll be great at Rio as well. It is Ultra at the end of the day, the best team in the game. But I do think it opens the door a little bit more to teams like OpTic because, this is a map that Pred and Shotzzy on paper should just love, and we saw that yesterday, right? And Pred was very emphatic in his analysis after the fact that it's really good for those guys going forward. But also the OpTic boys on the Game Chat episode, which came out last night, were discussing many of the roster changes. There were some funny clips here, and I have to share the one for you guys on Purge, because they were talking about the Vegas change and of course being surprised that Stanley was gone, but also being surprised that Purge stayed. So they were then kind of requesting, all right, to Matty or whoever was doing the production here, let's bring up the numbers for Vegas and see what's going on. So of course they look at the numbers, they see Purge as a 0.8, and Kenny and Dashy are trying to contain their laughter, and then eventually they can't help themselves. So this was really funny. But also, to be fair to Purge, played pretty well in their series yesterday. Maybe looks more comfortable on the sub. They did take down the Los Angeles Gorillas 3-1. I still want to see more evidence, really, from the Vegas boys that, they have what it takes to go to the next level. But I think there's definitely some optimism to take away. But they also talk about the iLLeY surge situation, right? They make a point that many of us have made for some time, but we haven't really seen too many players make this perspective, right? We've talked about it here on the channel. The Flank boys have talked about it. But, to hear it from the players themselves that they are basically in no doubt that this is clearly a non-performance related issue is pretty interesting.
We're in the roster mania now.
This is kind
roster mania.
Jimmy John's.
Surge, Breezy in, iLLeY out. I don't know. I don't even know what the fuck to say about that shit. I don't even know what to say other than
they gotta be it can't be gameplay related, and that's how I see it.
I've seen
Ender was
of
technically their best player. That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy. It's not.
Ender's literally their best player by far, respectfully. No disrespect to the players, but he actually is pretty good at this game. I'll give him that. I even tipped him in my last YouTube video, that one play on the invasion play that he made. That's what I'm saying.
No, that shit was crazy.
Tell you what, Kyler and Alec got to be careful. This might be a full French roster soon. They're about to pull a Toronto when Marky B was there.
They got Ray coaching in French too. Ray better start giving VOD. He better start talking in French.
Right there. I think. Maybe. Oh yeah, there you go. And then click. Oh, maybe not. Yeah. There you go. No. Oh, there we go.
Team stats.
Oh, wow.
I don't know.
I mean, I mean, listen, not like straight up. Like it was obvious, like visually, that like Purge had the worst performance. So like clearly, I don't know. They think something else.
No, obvious. Somebody's making something uncomfortable. Somebody's making something uncomfortable. But
Yeah,
it's just
like
bro.
I said, it's like no knock. Like
I think they have a weird thing. When Purge gets slammed, they win.
Dude,
and then when he plays well, they lose.
And they won like
that is so weird.
Yeah, he had like a 1.2 and they lost.
So like,
yo, Purge, just keep getting slammed, bro. We're just
No, bro.
So of course, no pred there, right? It was karma instead. But still, these guys have played with iLLeY not that long ago. They know why iLLeY was gone from the OpTic team when he was. Of course, there was a thumb injury, and then there was rumors about other things going on that potentially played a part in iLLeY being gone from the team. And as far as they're concerned, they've watched the gameplay, they've seen the numbers. On paper, it's a no-brainer, right? We're still going to talk about like the whole surge. Should they address it? Should they not address it? Type thing. I don't think what they're doing helps, but even some sort of simple statement. To be fair, if Surge come out and say, well, we've benched iLLeY and we're not really going to tell you the reason, then it probably doesn't help the situation massively, but I don't know. I think they could address it better than they have done right now. And I think it's also interesting in part for other teams because, as I said yesterday, if I'm Minnesota Rocker or if I'm a team like that, iLLeY could be a valuable asset to go and try and get, right? So if Surge... Like, if iLLeY's dropped or if iLLeY's benched, but they're not planning to bring him back, or, some people believe iLLeY might be suspended, which is a whole other possibility, but we really don't know anything on that. I'm sure other teams would at least be thinking about it, because iLLeY was one of the better players in the league, really, for the first major cycle. Now he's out of the league, but we don't really know when or how or anything like that. So if I'm another team and Surge have got rid of him, and Surge are going to go down this whole, more French-speaking route, which I don't know if they're really going to be able to fully execute that, but aBeZy's there, aBeZy's there. Theoretically, Rambo could try and, I don't think they're going to be able to get Lins off Rocker, but you never know. It might be like a medium-term situation. They might try and look into that possibility. And if iLLeY's no longer part of Surge's plans, which maybe he is, but because they don't say anything, we just don't know. If I'm another team, I'm thinking, all right, maybe we can do some sort of deal for iLLeY and we can bring him into our team, maybe, next stage or something, and take it to the next level. So I'd be surprised if other general managers, if they're doing their job properly, aren't inquiring to Surge about what the iLLeY situation is. So, whether they're going to get any response from those, from the guys on Surge to that situation, we don't know. But I think it would be good for the community to have some better understanding, so at least people can show their support to iLLeY as well, because as it stands, people can't really support iLLeY's, progress or whatever because they just don't know what's happening. So it's an absolute mess, to be honest, but I think the OpTic guys are saying what we all believed about the situation as well without explicitly saying what they believed on the situation. And an interesting stat here to mention for you guys as well here from Brian, that OpTic Texas, obviously that dominant 3-0 win against the Thieves yesterday, they were snapping a 3-series losing streak against them, right? So, of course, they hadn't played so far this year, but the last 3 times OpTic played Thieves, they lost every single time. Very different rosters, of course, back then. And Kenny, I mean, this is a pretty remarkable number, really. 15-8 against OpTic as a member of LA Thieves and 100T, which is probably one of the best records that any player has. Because if you think about it, really, even FaZe and those guys, the dominant force in some respect that they have been, their record against OpTic is not good at all. Like, it's in OpTic's favor over the last couple of seasons. So, Kenny and Drazah and Envoy, really, and of course Octane, who's now retired, were all in that situation of having this advantage. But even back to 100T, right, we're talking back to Black Ops 4, when, okay, Octane was there at the time, but of course Drazah and Envoy were not on that team. Even back then, 100T pretty much at OpTic's numbers. There was something in that, and it does feel like when we talked about Kenny to OpTic during the offseason, it's like, wow, that's going to kind of break the 100T LA Thieves curse against OpTic. It does kind of seem to have done exactly that. So, 15-8 against OpTic as a member of Thieves, and now 1-0 against Thieves as a member of OpTic. So I wonder how high this number will get if, of course, Kenny stays in OpTic for a few years to come, and Thieves continue to somewhat struggle. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.